Thanks for joining us. This is The Economy with me, Ibrahim Sani. We're going to be looking into investing into the AI space. In my office right now are two gentlemen that are pretty much clued into this space so that we can learn a little bit more. To my right is Datuk Syed Haizam Jamalullail, the partner of the Hive Global AI Fund, and his partner, Zubin, Rada, Krishnan. Maybe before we jump into the whole topic, maybe Haizam, you can share a little bit in terms of the fund. Who are you guys all about? Where do you guys enter? And what kind of geographies do you operate?
Okay, so currently I run the Hive Southeast Asia, which is a venture capital fund under, right now is Jalawan Capital. The mandate in 2021 that we got it was to invest into companies that will digitize Malaysia into the fourth industrial revolution. We are fully invested right now. We've invested into 13 different companies, early stage, pre-series A. And now we are into our next fund. We're looking to launch and raise our next fund, which is in the AI space, the Hive Global AI Fund. And Zubin joined me from, previously he was at BigPay. He was the CEO of BigPay, and he's now joined me on the Hive Global AI Fund. As you know, AI is everywhere. It's become a general technology for everything. And it's a partnership between our Hive US and the Hive Southeast Asia to create this Hive Global AI Fund. So we will be investing into companies in the US as well as Southeast Asia that will really dive in to enable this AI revolution.
Yeah. And the point of entry will be pre-seed and pre-series A, I suppose?
Yes, it will even, we even co-create companies. So at this very moment in time, we'll talk about it a little bit further later, but we are building a company called Rakantani in the agri-tech space, and we are partnering with the likes of Bernas, and we are talking with the National AI Office. So we have a partnership with the National AI Office called the National AI Office Lab. And we're building a company called Rakantani, which I guess, Zubin, you can go a bit detail.
Go ahead.
Well, Rakantani is an interesting one. So we have co-created this alongside a corporate partner, Bernas. And what it is an AI co-pilot that a farmer can access via WhatsApp. So it's an AI brain, a multi-model kind of stack that we use to deliver all of the farming knowledge and expertise that Bernas and our universities and Mardi have aggregated over the years. But normally they find it very hard to communicate to the farmer, because when you're a paddy farmer, the last thing you want to do is sit in a classroom for two hours and listen to an agricultural extension officer, lecturing about how to do the farming. What we created is the ability for the farmer to essentially talk to a digital expert at any time to understand what they should do at any point in time. And so that's accessible via WhatsApp in Bahasa Melayu or any local dialects as well. So what in essence this does is enables a farmer to follow a schedule more accurately and do things to specification, which will enhance the yield and the quality of the rice, which improves food security for the country, for Malaysia. It improves outcomes for Bernas and the welfare of the farmers as a whole.
But of course, this is one of the items you're looking at, zooming out and looking into AI per se. There's a whole host of issues when it comes to talking about AI. One of the big issues is, of course, is there an AI bubble, to be honest? What's your view on that?
Yeah, I think bubbles are interesting ones. There's two kind of ways people look at bubbles. One is like, a bubble that is a mean reversion. That means like asset prices go up and then they go back because of speculation, like tulips, like nothing really came out of that. But there are also bubbles which are inflection points where, yes, there's a lot of interest, there's a lot of investment going in, and asset prices can go up. But at the end of the day, society will change because of this investment, because of this rush. And this is like the same as railroads in America in historical times, right? So I think, yes, maybe there's a little bit of a bubble, there's a lot of interest, but it will yield us great things from a societal perspective.
AI has evolved from a tech trend, so the bubble-related era, into a fundamental capability, similar to the internet. Similar, go way back into like the steam engine, etc. So, right now the advanced AI models are mainly held by the largest players around the world. So the Chinas of the world, the USs of the world, and it's very high cost. But we can play in that application space. And, with regards to the language models, etc., it's the winner or takes most, if not all. So that's the bubble. But with the application space, if you are going down into identifying problem statements and building according to that, then it can be very, very effective. Right?
What about AI services
Yeah.
as a role and looking into players in this slither of the large AI landscape? Where do you see that AI services growth looking like? Do you have emerging players that might be of interest for you guys? And more importantly, do you think that some of these players are better off amalgamated so that they can actually share resources and scale better?
So, the interesting question. I think first, back to your point about kind of AI as a bubble and so on, and the AI landscape. We are, I think, very, very early in the adoption curve, in the pathway to adoption. A lot of things now are really just, when people cite this MIT study that was done last year about how 90%, 95% of AI initiatives haven't yielded a return on investment. But that's because these AI initiatives have been very, very basic, almost very kind of not meaningful material. It's people using ChatGPT at work, it's people using Gemini at work. I think there's one scale of adoption there. The next part is where we use agentic AI and AI to kind of really automate and make existing workflows and value chains more effective. And then there's a stage where AI really can reinvent value chains. Like tabula rasa, we can rethink how we do business using AI. Now, in that context, and we were kind of very early in the curve, in that context, to deliver those things, you need what's known as an AI stack, right, of components. You need the physical infrastructure, you need the GPUs, the data centers. You need the model layer, right? You need the foundational models. You'll need, kind of data layers where kind of different types of software allow us to hold data in different ways. And so the application layer as well. But importantly in that stack will be this kind of services layer. This is this kind of AI operations layer where you still need humans in the loop. You still need humans doing things. And that is things like, annotating data to make sense of it, annotating images of the real world so that the AI can ingest it and make sense of what's happening. It's around kind of monitoring of how models' outputs are they accurate or not? Are they ethically right or not? There's a whole range of things where we still need kind of humanity to be involved, right? It's not as if instantly AI is going to give us everything, right?
Yeah, this is where applied AI, along with evaluation, monitoring, human oversight becomes vital in this services operational landscape.
And of course, very recently you guys wrote a very interesting article in The Edge talking about Malaysia could potentially be a global AI hub for AI services. What was the thesis behind the understanding of this op-ed, and why this view? Because I think I find it rather interesting. We haven't even argued that Malaysia should be an AI hub of sorts, but we want to. But at the same time, you guys took a very nice avenue that forget about the rest of the gamut of AI, but AI services global hub. That could be an area of win for Malaysia. Why that argument?
Yeah, so for me, I'll let Zubin talk about the article, but for me, I was privileged to spend the last year at the Blavatnik School of Government, and I wrote a paper on how Malaysia potentially seeing this AI revolution as this catalyst for the country. I mean, in Korea and Japan, you had the automobile, electronics. In India, you had business processes, the call centers, and then in Taiwan, you had semiconductor. And Malaysia can really take advantage of this AI revolution because we are right in the center. I think YB Liu Ching Tong has always mentioned that we can be that indispensable middle. We can't compete with the likes of China and the US with regards to the LLM, the big high high capex investments, but on the application side. So we have a history specifically with Penang with the semiconductor industry, more on the manufacturing side, and then Selangor is going down into IC design and going a bit down further down the supply
like
chain.
SciDec and
Exactly, with the likes of SciDec. The talent side, we are trying to get that and supplement that with ASEM, the Advanced Semiconductor Academy of Malaysia, which the Hive Southeast Asia actually co-created with the Selangor state government, supplemented by the huge amount of data centers that are being built within the country. All that put together, we have a significant opportunity to really use this AI revolution as a catalyst for the country, similar to those other countries that I mentioned before.
Yeah. What will be the highlight of that year that you spent in Blavat? Do you feel that there could be some lessons that could be exported and
Yeah, so what's interesting is the school is the main thing is the Masters in Public Policy, so a lot of it is policy. And this is something with regards to Malaysia as an AI revolution, all countries around the world, they really need to look into really carefully is the policy governing, the governance side with regards to AI. 40, 50 years ago, another revolution with regards to oil and gas. You had the Seven Sisters, the big oil and gas companies. But they move like an oil and gas ship.
Yeah.
When they turn, it takes one day to turn, or few, one day is exaggeration, but a few days. Then the government moves along with policy. But the tech giants nowadays, the AI companies, the Nvidias around the world, snap. They will, in terms of the product cycles are extremely quickly. And governments around the world are not built to move that quickly. They're built on policy cycles. They're built on bureaucracy, legislative cycles. So it's not a question of fast or slow in the abstract, but the question is whether the government can be adaptive without being too reckless.
At the same time, sticking to the same policies so that no matter how fast or how intense changes and developments take place, if the policies remain consistent or at least the values remain the same, it is actually okay for us to be a little bit slower when it comes to policy creation, as long as the policies stay the same.
But you need to get a balance. So as I mentioned, my time in the UK last year, you can see Europe are being very careful, but then you can see a lot of the technological advances within the AI space is also lagging behind the likes of the US and China.
Yeah.
But I guess we will see in the future.
US and China, little to no regulation, so there's that as well.
Yes.
You know.
So that you need to get that balance.
Moving on to my earlier argument. Yeah. So what's with this possibility of us becoming a global hub?
Yeah, so I think, Haizam mentioned an important point around being the indispensable middle. I think it's a great point by YB Liu Chin Tong, and he's been talking about this a lot. It means that we don't need to be in the sexiest spaces. We don't necessarily need to be in the most cutting-edge spaces, but we need to be part of the value chain that is kind of indispensable, right? And be so important there as a plug in the global kind of supply chain for AI. And that's a space where, especially in this interim period as we see adoption happening, that's a space where this AI services and AI operations space is really interesting. So you'll still need, as I mentioned, a lot of humans doing things so that the AI can be developed at the core. And Malaysia has experience, right? We have established ourselves as a real global center for BPO and KPO and what's now kind of known as global business services, right? We export services. We know how to export services well. Things like data labeling and automation, data labeling and annotation, those things are huge industries at tens of billions of dollars in size and growing very rapidly, right? There's no reason why we can't take those same skills that we learned as a country in exporting, business process outsourcing and KPO, and apply that to these AI, these kind of human-heavy AI businesses, right? And these things are not peripheral to AI. They're essential to ensure that AI behaves responsibly, AI works in favor of humans, and AI is safe, right? We still need these humans in the loop. So let's take advantage of that. And the opportunities are manifold, right? There are things that we can do in terms of, let's say, radiologists, like reading imagery, providing that kind of clinical expertise there. There are spaces where we can leverage our multilingual capacity, right, to train models and nativize them and localize them, make sure that in certain cultural contexts they're giving the right responses. So there's a lot of things we can do, and we are structurally set up, and we've kind of succeeded in that space before, export of services. So let's do this for AI. That's our view.
Going back to the fund itself, what's the landscape looking like when you meet these founders? Are you happy with what you're seeing? And I'm not just talking about Malaysia, of course, the domicility that you're targeting, which is North America and Southeast Asia in general. Do you feel that there's some interest in terms of what they're going after? And perhaps if there's a gap, what's that missing je ne sais quoi that you're looking for right now?
Yeah, I think just quickly on that, I think the North America, the America divide with kind of countries like us, middle countries like us, Malaysia, not even Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, wherever, is quite vast. And I think we're focusing on deep tech investments in America because for new innovation to come out, like deep tech innovation in AI, different kinds of scientific models, scientific foundational models, that kind of replicate the laws of physics using AI. Those things emerge as a result of decades of deep research, of funding between universities and the public sector in America, of access to high compute power, supercomputers before and now kind of GPUs. We don't quite have that yet. So I think the kind of investment landscape that we see in America is very different to what we'll see here in Southeast Asia. Here in Southeast Asia, we have a lot of very fast-growing, profitable, mature, and knowledgeable businesses with data sets, with knowledge and expertise of kind of workflows. If you look at our ports here, arguably our ports are far more advanced than let's say the port of Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
And because of that, we can take those vertical knowledge and use AI. Use kind of AI as a kind of catalyst to create businesses on top of that, right? To take the knowledge, ingest the knowledge using AI, and then package this and sell this to the world. So it's more vertical applications we see here in Southeast Asia, and the more kind of horizontal applications, the deep tech applications that could work across various industry domains. Those are the things we look for in America.
Yeah. So in terms of the Hive, so the Hive's model based out of their 4 funds, this is going to be their 5th fund. And then they also have Hive Southeast Asia. Hive Brazil is, we're made on our co-creation model. So we identify problem statements, work closely with a corporate, for example, or a government or ministry, and then we build accordingly, right? So Rakantani is an example. So a company that we built in the US, for example, a company, a large conglomerate, global conglomerate, identified that they wanted to use edge intelligence and AI and big data to build a software that will improve health and safety at the workplace using the video cameras, using data, etc., but they couldn't find anything out there. So essentially, we, the fund, invested into the company, built it. This company was basically the use case, like you can use it in 3 or 5 different factories, etc. Eventually, this company then invested into the company that we built, and we invested 1.5 million US. The company is now worth 150 to 200 million US with a lot of different customers at that hand. In the same way, as I mentioned before, investing into a lot of different companies, hoping for the best, is not the way to go in terms of AI. It needs to be targeted. You need to identify problem statements. You need to identify what areas you want to invest into. So working closely with the National AI Office, with the Ministry of Digital, for example, they've highlighted 6 different areas that they want us to concentrate on and look on and build companies on, invest into companies on healthcare, education,
public services,
SME, and transportation.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are specific areas that is aligned with the government as well, and when you align yourselves with the policy that the government is going, that the market is going commercial, then that's the way to go nowadays.
And of course, the idea of still on your fund, is there any different kinds of pressures from your LP and from family offices? Are they looking at still a 7-year fund or 10-year fund? Are they pressed for time, or it's more of nothing changes in terms of how the investment structure is looking like? It's just looking into specific sectors. For instance, right now into AI, and the risk appetite is still the same, and the tolerance for the timeline is also the same. Do you think that there's a change there?
No, so obviously more capital will go into the AI because that is the buzzword right now, and this is the area that technological advances are going to happen. Growth is going to happen as well, right? In terms of the VC industry, I don't think I need to spell it out, but there have been challenges with regards to VC industry, not just in Malaysia, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, of course, and globally. In terms of the cycle, I think the 7-year cycle will not change because the market dynamics for a venture capital fund is that. But I think you need to show results earlier in terms of proof of concept earlier. And I think the LPs will demand that. You need to create the company. You need to show that this company is
not necessarily pre-rev, I suppose, but results.
Yes.
Generally speaking, the rollout plan and stuff like that.
And I think the reality is, with the pace of AI, we're going to start to see distributions a little bit quicker
compared to traditional tech, how we started off maybe 3-4 decades ago.
And I think because of the pace of change and because of the appetite of some of the bigger players, we're focused on enterprise AI. You can see players like Anthropic or ChatGPT, OpenAI, wanting to get into that space to deliver the type of products that we invest into, to deliver those same products to their customer base. So I think there'll be a lot more acquisition, and it might happen a little bit quicker. But kind of rolling back, I think as Haizam said, there definitely has been a lot more pressure around distributions. I think the general milieu climate around Southeast Asia-centric VC is, where are the distributions? What happens to distributions? And we come in at this point in time, raising this fund at a very difficult point from a macro perspective, because the funds that are coming up to the end of their life now have a kind of vintage of 2016, 2017, 2018. Those are funds that were investing in very, very high valuation times, right? They were kind of zero interest rate times, and now coming down, the distributions might not have happened for those funds, and so LPs are still kind of a little bit more diligent around deployment.
And Anthropic is currently valued close to 400 billion. OpenAI is rushing to get its IPO done fourth quarter this year in a race to beat Anthropic. How seismic are these kind of players going to impact the industry as a general play? And of course, how will you help your portfolio of companies that you intend to target right now? Is it going to have some effects?
Yeah.
And what would that be?
Oh, definitely. I think the model, there will be, in the model space, the model layer, there will be a range of players. There will be these large utility type players, which are almost like the providers of the internet, providers of intelligence. And they will continue to be large and behemoths. There will also be smaller model players, scientific model players that are fit for purpose for certain spaces. And to be honest, in the next 5 or 10 years, as we move towards AGI and other real world AI models that people like Jan LeCun are looking at, nobody can tell where this is going to really go. But the foundational models and their investment there are going to be kind of pillars to the application layer.
And then, of course, moving towards the macroeconomics. Ringgit is strengthening. It's getting interesting for local players to look outside. But seeing that you're a US fund, the US is weakening, bang for buck kind of thing. how do you view, say for instance, currency fluctuation impacting how you look at your fund size and the ticket size of your investments? And how do you see some interesting markets like Malaysia, for instance, or Southeast Asia as investment opportunity against the backdrop of economic growth, against the backdrop of policy volatility and the risk bandwidth widening, considering that Trump has various other issues that he has to deal with and contend with, people like us?
Yeah. Yeah. So the Hive Global AI Fund is a U.S. domiciled fund, but we're building the fund based on the thesis of building this U.S. ASEAN corridor, right? So as Zubin mentioned, the deep tech stuff will be in the U.S. and then the application side, the applications of that and taking advantage of that will be invested into Malaysia, Southeast Asia. So with regards to the macroeconomic side, it's specific to each region, and we will, to a certain extent, the macroeconomics will potentially help us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
this is an upside for you guys.
Yeah, and I think, look, we can't predict big, macro trends, currency trends, and so on. But what we do see as an underlying thesis for our fund, this corridor that Haizam spoke of, is important. So, our startups that we invest to in America don't have access just to American corporates and the American market, but also to the fastest growing region in the world, right? Southeast Asia is going to be, over the next 5 years, probably the most steady and bang for buck, risk return, the best space that you can invest into. And so our startups in the States will have access to high growth corporates out here in Southeast Asia and Malaysia. Not only that, they'll have access to kind of high value and very highly cost competitive labor, engineering, software engineers and AI engineers that we can source out here in the region. And then on the reverse side, the startups that we invest into here can be battle hardened by kind of technical expertise that we have out in the Bay Area. We can inject talent from the Bay Area and so on. There's a lot of kind of synergies there that we see beyond the kind of the fluctuations of the currency. So I think, yes, there will be considerations there, but I think the overall, the synergistic upside from that corridor is what we're looking at.
And then, we have to mention the Global AI Village. So the Global AI Village was launched at the same time as the National AI Office, and it is an investment under the Hive Global AI Fund. And the idea stemmed from the Hive 1, 2, 3, 4 from the US investing into companies. They've been hiring AI engineers from all around the world, from Colombia, from Ukraine, from Korea, from India, predominantly India, etc. It's basically where the best AI engineering team is to build. And we're saying, why can't you just house it within a particular location within Malaysia? We have an increasing amount of AI engineering talent in Malaysia, and it now with especially post-COVID and post-MCO and the digitalization stage, you can be anywhere in the world. So the idea is that AI engineers from around the world can potentially be housed within Malaysia, can upskill the talent within Malaysia and work on projects from all around the world. So the Hive is one of them. We have current companies in the Hive Fund 4 and Hive Fund 3 that we're working on, we're building. There's one company that we're looking to work with, the local oil and gas company, so on a particular project.
Now two, if you think about Sarawak. So.
Yeah. So the engineering team will be built. This company will be using AI engineering talent within Malaysia to service Petronas.
Personal curiosity, how has the take-up been? Is it a bit too slow? Is it going according to plan?
No, I mean, there's definitely significant interest. I think based on the economics of raising this fund and setting up this fund, it's been a little bit slower than what we would have envisioned. But again, this Global AI Village, the AI engineers are the ones that's building Rakantani for us, and also working closely on these different projects as well.
And certainly there's a lot of interest from our incumbent portfolio companies from previous funds in terms of utilizing talent out here. There's a lot of interest from our previous portfolio companies in terms of expanding here and using the village as a distribution channel to get into Southeast Asia. And there's also a lot of interest from people, everybody from universities to kind of businesses about building AI projects for them and how their village can help.
Yeah, that's another area that I'm very keen on. So I also the deputy chair of the Malaysian Venture Capital Association, and the Hive in the US, we've built a lot of companies with the University of Stanford. One company that we built was on a paper from the University of Michigan. Right? And I feel that the universities, we are looking at it. It did come across this problem statement. Did come across with between the venture cap industry in Malaysia and in the budget engagement session with YBMK2. That the universities need to work more closely with the venture capital funds and vice versa, because a lot of the talent and a lot of the research is coming out from universities, but it's not being gestated into actual viable products.
We've been talking about that for quite some time.
Yes,
now.
of course.
Sweden did the triple helix 30 years ago. I'm a bit pessimistic in that sense.
Pessimistic, but we need
on
to
that
look
front.
at it.
The rest, I'm rather interesting, intrigued, a bit optimistic, all
Yeah.
this. On that part, that last part, I don't know. I have my skepticism there.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on 2026? Is this going to be a very fun year for you guys?
Well, yeah, the horse. So we
Fire
need to
horse,
leap.
apparently.
A fire horse, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's exactly what you need with regards to your leap and bounds and fire to drive the jumping of that, right?
Yeah.
So we are very optimistic. We are, with regards to the Hive Global AI Fund, this year, 2026, is the year when we make that leap. Inshallah.
Your fundraising period stops?
End of this year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Full deployment maybe.
we'll start deploying. We're starting to deploy this year, and it'll start really taking shape over the kind of the middle of this year.
Yeah, I think with regards to the policy as well, with regards to the Malaysian government, we're working very closely and speaking to the various stakeholders, the AI roadmap as well, to be aligned to that. So
I think so for this year. I think it's really a really critical point, because I think people are waking up. Enterprises, old and new, are waking up to the impact that AI will have on business. Not just as a tool, but because AI is becoming work, right? AI can do the work itself. I think that realization is slowly dawning on people. And in the conversations we've had with investors, family offices that have operating companies and a portfolio of assets, the idea of, or the notion of embedding AI to be radically more productive, radically more efficient, to do radically different things, is really starting to become a reality. So we've seen a really kind of market kind of change in the way family offices and owners of businesses have been talking to us about investing into us. So I think it'll be an interesting year, but it'll be the year where kind of the world and Malaysia itself kind of awakens to the power of artificial intelligence inside a business, reshaping businesses, and kind of reinventing value chains, reinventing the way we do things.
I'm getting the vibe that 2026 is the tipping year. If Malaysia really wants to get in, now's the time. And if we miss this boat, I don't think we'll ever get it back. And that's the vibe I'm
agree.
getting.
So when I was in the UK, exactly that. I said, I use this as an opportunity for Malaysia, as I mentioned before, that this can be our catalyst, similar to Taiwan, Japan, Korea, India. And we can't miss the boat. And then the professors, Haizam, stop talking about missing the boat. Malaysia needs to build the boat, right? You need to drive it. You need to build the boat. And whatever you want to take from that.
Yeah.
That's where we need to think.
I think that's right. I think we're interesting. We're a great economy. We're an open economy. We export a lot, but that means we are under pressure to adopt, right? So if our businesses don't adopt AI, don't embed AI, don't reinvent their value chains with AI, we'll be far less competitive than peers in other markets, right? So as an open economy, we'll suffer, right? Our exports will suffer, right? So we need to be amongst the early adopters in this space.
And while a lot is at stake, now's the time to seize some of the opportunities presented to us, I suppose.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That was Zubin, Rada, Krishnan, and earlier on just heard from Datuk, Syed, Haizam, Jamalullail. They are partners of the Hive Global AI Fund. Perhaps it would be good if you are interested, you can reach out to them. Just reach out to them on their socials and their website. Till then, thanks very much for watching. Catch you in the next one.